Hi everybody, welcome back. Today I've got a about me video just to give you a bit of an insight into my running and my running history, how I got into it and stuff. So at the end I'll also talk about some things that I did to bring my marathon time down from a 4:05 to a 3:19. So let's get right into it. So I started running back in 2014. I was quite sporty at school, but like not majorly. And then I did like the classic thing that a lot of people do after university and just go straight into a desk job and do literally no exercise. I was actually working at Pandora at the time, the jewellery company. And I had a few friends that had entered into the London Marathon and they had no running experience at all. And I thought it was amazing and I really needed to do something because I was just feeling horrible. So I entered a half marathon because I thought that was the only way that I would actually do something. It essentially just forced me to train for it. So that was the Ealing half marathon in 2014, which ended up running in 2 hours 19. Very average, middle of the road. And then I just thought, why stop there? So I entered a marathon the following spring. So that was the Edinburgh Marathon in 2015. I had no idea what I was doing, just managed to somehow blag my way through, followed probably a bog standard runner's world training plan, which was absolutely fine, and got around in 4 hours and 5 minutes. I had no idea if that was good or not, but I was absolutely delighted, just so happy to finish my first marathon. Never did I think that I would ever do something like that. So that was Edinburgh in 2015, and then the following 2 years I managed to squeeze some more time off my marathon time. So the following year I went to Manchester and ran my first sub 4, 3:58, and then the year after that I went back to Manchester, great course, and ran my first good for race time in 3:42. And the only thing that really changed in my training was just more frequency and just more consistency in my running. And then in 2017 I met Ben, and I had never met anybody that was so encouraging about my running, and I'd been wanting to do a 50 mile, like a long distance race, for a long time, and it was around my birthday actually that we ran Race to the King together, which was a 53-mile race. And it absolutely broke me, but that is where my love for trails and ultra running came from. It was just the best day, and I've done about 20 since then. Who'd have thought it? Not me. And 2018 was probably the year where I started to take my training really seriously. So I did my first 100-mile race at the Thames 500 early that spring, and then I ran a marathon PB at Manchester again in 3:27, and that was the first time that I had followed a proper plan and stuck to it. Like, I took it really seriously. I think I followed the Fitzinger plan in advanced marathoning. It was also the year where I started to get more into like mountain races as well. So I ran the CCC and Trail Verbier Saint Bernard, which was a really tough day, but again, I love being in the mountains. And I'm not very good at it, but it was so much fun. So yeah, 2018 was the year where I really just started to knuckle down in my training, and I started to see some big improvements. In 2019, my main goal was to bring my marathon time down again, and I spent the whole summer training for the Frankfurt Marathon in October. I put together a really good training plan, and just poured my heart and soul into that training block. We even went to Frankfurt a couple of weeks before to run the whole course. There was literally no stone left unturned. I built up some really good fitness in that block. I even ended up running my first sub 20 in the 5K at Parkrun. So I did 19:39, 2 weeks out from Frankfurt. So that was a massive confidence boost. And then in Frankfurt, managed to run my 3:19. I was absolutely just so happy. If you've made it this far into the video, then thank you so much. I just wanted to talk through a few things that I feel that have really helped me get my marathon time down. So hopefully they will help you with your marathon journey too. So the first one's probably quite an obvious one, but I massively increased my mileage, my volume, and just devoted a lot more time to running. When I was training for Edinburgh in 2015, I was running maybe about 20 miles a week. And then compared to when I did my Frankfurt block, that was about 55 miles a week, and just running more frequently as well. So I was running 2 to 3 times a week when I was training for Edinburgh, and then about 6 times a week when I was training for Frankfurt. So increased volume and increased frequency. Note that this obviously happened over the course of 4 years. I wouldn't recommend, just if you're used to running 20 miles a week, don't just start running 60 miles a week. It's a gradual thing. So I appreciate this is not a quick fix, but nothing in marathon training is. Another thing that I did a lot of in my Frankfurt block was really regular speed sessions, and also some practice at marathon pace, just getting comfortable with how it feels and just getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, because at the end of the day you are going to be uncomfortable at the end of a marathon. So I did loads of practice at marathon pace, and yeah, as I said, like weekly interval session, and then every other week or so I'd do like a tempo session as well. So I just made my training a lot more varied overall. Another thing which we bang on about all the time is easy runs. So when I was training for Edinburgh in 2015, pretty much all my runs were just at like one pace, like a moderate effort pace. And then as I've kind of progressed over the years, I've really learned the importance of easy running. It's just so important to run your easy runs actually easy, because otherwise you're just going to build up too much fatigue in your body, you're going to get injured. So it's so important for building up your mileage safely. And so many people say that they're embarrassed about being or appearing slow on Strava, but please don't worry. Like, honestly, no one cares. They're too busy worrying about what other people are thinking about them to be worrying about you. So don't let what other people think affect your easy runs. It's so important for you to be doing them actually easy for you.
Quick side note or tangent, you might be thinking, how do you know what is your easy pace? I've always just used the Jack Daniels VDOT calculator. So you put in a realistic goal time, and then it gives you your different paces for each kind of run. So your interval runs, your easy pace, and then everything in between. So yeah, I've always found that quite useful. I'll put a link to that in the description so you can have a look and check it out.
So what would an average week look like in my Frankfurt block? So Monday, easy. Tuesday, speed or intervals. Wednesday, easy. Thursday, either a tempo run or an easy run. Friday, rest. Saturday, easy. Sunday, long run. If I did a tempo run, I'd do the long run all easy. If I didn't do the tempo run on Thursday, I would put some marathon pace blocks in my long run. So that's kind of like roughly how it worked. The final thing I did, which I'd never really done before, is include recovery weeks. So every roughly 4 or 5 weeks, I would put in a week that has a reduced volume. It just lets the body absorb everything that you've done the past couple of weeks, and just gives you a chance to let it all set in, give you a bit of a break physically and mentally, and then you can get back into it the week after. You can't just keep going up and up and up for 16 or so weeks. You'll just burn out and it will be a miserable experience. So give yourself a recovery week every 4 or 5 weeks, and you'll feel a lot better for it. That kind of brings us to the present day. And sadly, well, like a lot of you guys, I had some big plans this year but haven't been able to fulfill them. What have we got coming up in the future? Well, my next big thing is going to be the Arc of Attrition in January, which is a 100-mile race on the Cornish or on the Southwest Coast Path. It's by far going to be the hardest thing I've ever done in the winter time. It's going to be grim, but for some reason I'm really attracted to it. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. And then I'll probably want to try and bring the marathon time down again, try and squeeze under 3:15, which would get me onto the championship start for the London Marathon. So that would be amazing. That's like lifelong dream. So we'll see if we can make that happen next year. It'll probably be autumn now, but we'll see. There's so many cancelled races that they've all been postponed to next year. So I'm gonna have to do some thinking about what to prioritise. But yeah, Arc of Attrition at the beginning of the year, and then maybe an autumn marathon later on. So so there we have it. That's kind of my running life condensed into 15 minutes or 10 minutes or something. Hopefully, if anything, it showed you that I'm honestly just a complete average Joe, average Jane. There's nothing special about me at all. I've just managed to chip away at my times with a bit of consistency and a bit of determination. So yeah, as I said, I wasn't ever really like hugely sporty at school. I don't come from a long line of sporty parents. They run now, but they never used to. So yeah, hopefully this has helped you in some way. You don't have to be born an elite athlete to do well. So yeah, let me know what's going on with you and let me know what else you want to see on the channel. I'm gonna probably do some kit reviews soon. I've got a new pair of shoes that I want to review, so that will probably be coming up next. And yeah, I guess I'll see you next time. Bye.